What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? Welcome back to MOVIEVERSE, the movie review podcast show. My name is Jacoby, the Habitual Pixel. I'm joined with this guy, Big Nasty Productions, and today we are reviewing Godzilla, the brand spanking new 2014 release of Godzilla, not the Matthew Broderick one. Thank God.
Thank God, indeed.
And we will never speak of that again.
That was awful.
Yes. Couple things. If you like what we do, give us a thumbs up, check out our channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us suggestions for what to watch and what to review. Always appreciated. And also, big fat spoiler alert, because we dive right into the movies, we go through the endings, all that shit. So if you haven't seen it, yes. Well, if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you don't want to see it, welcome to the Godzilla review. What'd you think of this movie? Because this was like probably the most hyped movie of the summer, I would think. Most likely the most
I'd say right up there next to X-Men Days of Future Past as of the movies that are coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it was, decent. It wasn't great. It was like we had discussed before. It had fantastic special effects, and the monsters I thought looked absolutely terrific, except for the one that I'm still calling Mothra. I don't give a shit if they call it Muto or whatever with both of them. It's still Mothra to me.
It's Muto.
It looks like a giant moth.
One of them does, yeah. It has wings.
Yeah, the other one's got the just big arms. I thought those looked kind of stupid. They could have done this better considering the technology that's available today.
I think
But Godzilla looked fantastic.
Yeah, I'll say that.
And the fights were awesome. I thought the fights were awesome as far as destruction and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'll say this right off the bat. Godzilla has never looked better. Like, this is the best looking monster movie probably I've ever seen. Like, if you have things like Pacific Rim and Cloverfield or whatever to compare it to, this blows both of them out of the water.
Easily.
Out of the water. Unfortunately, it shares some of the same tropes as most monster movies in the fact that I don't give a shit about the humans in this movie. Besides Bryan Cranston, which he did an excellent job.
It was unfortunate that he actually died, because if he was alive throughout the whole thing, I feel like it would have been more involved.
Exactly.
And it's nothing against, I believe his name's Aaron Tyler Johnson, Kick-Ass?
Yes, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Taylor Johnson, sorry, I apologize. But either way, I felt he did a good job, especially considering I didn't even realize it was Buddy from Kick-Ass for a good 30 to 40 minutes.
Well, I didn't even know he was in Godzilla until we were like in line to get tickets. I swear to God, I didn't know like his name was cast. I
didn't know he was.
I thought it was Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe. Sorry.
Yeah, then that was pretty much it.
I thought that was who was going to be carrying it. No, this is mostly Kick-Ass. But Bryan Cranston.
He did do a good job though. I feel he did a good job, especially in the. I mean, it was kind of a, just an average sort of action role, but...
He tried. He really did.
Yeah. I felt he actually brought it up a level and, what someone could have done with it.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, direction and whatnot kind of made every character in this film, except Bryan Cranston and, to a lesser extent, Ken Watanabe's character. I didn't give a shit about any of them. Like, not even a little bit.
Ken Watanabe did a good job of being Japanese.
And sad and scared looking, because that's like he was like.
No, I'm just kidding. He did a good job I thought, as the scientist.
He did a great job. Yeah, he's never really done a bad job in anything
I've never seen him be bad. Yeah, but it is funny though, because the stereotypical things that he says. I don't know if it's just supposed to be an homage along with a lot of the other stuff you see, including on the side. And this is another reason I'm calling the one Muto. Calling the one a Mothra no matter what, is during the opening sequence when you see in the kids' room, or maybe it's after the bomb, the plant goes down. In the kids' room, you see an aquarium, and on the side it says moth, and like a moth taped over something that then says RA, so it says Mothra.
Oh, I didn't catch that the first time I saw that. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the first time we saw it, I didn't catch pretty much anything. And the funny part is I only fell asleep for about 15 minutes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the first time we saw this, it was on opening day, Friday, whatever that day was. And we missed our 8 o'clock show, so we had to wait till like 10 something, so we drank a bunch of beer and shit.
10:50.
Yeah, so we were a little bit fuzzy. I watched everything, like I remember the whole movie, but
Well, to be perfectly honest, I actually enjoyed it more without the 3D. I felt with the 3D, there's just way too much going on. Like, there's
yeah,
everything's coming at you.
I didn't think the 3D added anything except for the skydive scene.
Yeah.
That kind of got me a little bit with the 3D.
Well,
Otherwise,
it could have been because of the drinking. I don't know, but I actually did enjoy it on the with the 2D version. You know, the standard version.
and the sober version.
And yes, the sober version. Yes, I
Yes,
enjoy
well,
that.
there you go. If you can still watch this movie sober, it can't be that bad, right, guys? You know. Overall, I think this is a classic case of overhype, but don't get me wrong, this is not a bad movie. It's just the fucking trailers and the way everything was so particularly cut in the trailer just had me like, I can't wait for Godzilla. And then seeing it, I'm like, oh, well, that was a pretty good Godzilla movie. It's not going to, like, change monster movies forever, but it's definitely one of the best.
We'll see, and like you said, it's not a bad movie, even though it has a lot of bad things in it.
Yes, exactly.
But I actually think that it is similar to our discussion about the RoboCop versus the RoboCop remake.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it is just a similar case where it's a far better version of the original for the most part. Obviously, there's some differences.
I
But
agree.
in the style and the way that they approach at least the monsters or in the surrounding fight scenes and such
Mm-hmm.
is done very well. I thought it, like, especially if you're just looking, if someone is actually a fan of the originals, even though they're as cheesy as they are, because they're some of the cheesiest things you could possibly watch. Would you not agree?
I would agree. Every single one up to and including the 2001 Matthew Broderick one. It's a thick
Yeah.
layer of cheese on all that.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, it's a far more advanced version of that. I thought the acting was obviously superior to any of those films, and
Yeah.
obviously the effects were superior to any of those films. And you know, I'm not a big CGI rules the day movie, but when I'm going to see something called Godzilla, I'm expecting, you know,
It better
especially
look-
nowadays, some CGI, yeah, good looking CGI shit, just smashing shit,
And there was that. There was a lot of cool
big
shots.
monsters crushing things.
Yeah, there was a lot of like longer shots that, like, you know, not quite, you know, over a minute.
Sweeping
but
shots and
sweeping
such.
shots
Yeah.
that just reveal fucking massive monsters. There's some really awesome like CGI and shots in this movie.
Yeah.
And of course, the last half hour, 45 minutes, give or take, that's what you paid to see. That is the action-packed finale.
Yeah.
And it is glorious. Like, you could, if you're a Godzilla fan, I'd say go see this, absolutely. But if you're just like CGI porn,
Yeah.
fucking like smashing pots on your head, you like to see really pretty explosions, that last 45 minutes is for you, man.
That is about only the only parts in it, because everything else is kind of quick glimpses of the devastation that's
yes,
at
there's
hand.
a lot of lead up to that final
Yeah.
battle, and
A
like
lot of
they,
little quips that you see, little clips of Godzilla's tail, for instance, passing a building that just
Yeah.
got smashed.
and they do
Things
full
of that
on
nature.
they do full on reveal that there's, you know, two Mutos and a Godzilla in this world, and they're all like, you know, converging on certain cities and stuff. But for some reason, and this might piss some people off, the first time anyways that they square off, it cuts. It fucking cuts away from the battle. and,
Well,
and it goes
the
to
one thing
like
is too.
TV footage of the battle and like
Yeah.
little background footage of the battle. That's gonna piss some people off.
Well, see, no, that's the thing that I liked about that. That's the one thing is there's a lot of stuff that's similar to the original, and then there's a lot of stuff that's thrown in that's strictly homage. If you watch that, it's almost similar to the fight when you watch the original. You know what I mean? As if the kid's watching the original on TV, sort of thing. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was meant to be that, but also in the kid's room in the opening sequence, you'll notice on the calendar there's actually a picture of what appears to be Godzilla fighting Mothra or something of that nature. But I was going to say, since we keep throwing out the term Muto, and we're already ruined endings and things of that nature with this movie, we might as well tell people what Muto means. And if you don't know, I do, so I will.
I don't remember. Go ahead.
Okay. It's a massive, unidentified terrestrial organism.
Yes, that's right. So that is the boss. I almost said boss.
The
The,
boss, nice. I like it.
That
We'll go
is
with the boss.
yeah, that is the two boss characters from this movie. We'll go with that. The
One flies, one doesn't. I consider the one that flies to be Mothra, because what else could it possibly be? It acts like a fucking moth.
yeah, they're
It's
definitely
attracted to light.
they're bug-esque. They're
Yeah.
definitely. And they look fine. They're okay looking
I didn't
monsters,
think
but
they
they're
put as much effort into that as they clearly did into Godzilla.
I would agree with that. I was just gonna say there's nothing that really makes these monsters stand out to me. The two Mutos, anyways. It's kind of like they look, fairly similar to the Cloverfield monster. Jones Soda, drink Jones Soda, delicious. They look fairly similar to the Cloverfield monster, I thought. A little bit of a different face and whatnot. And I enjoyed, like, I guess you could call it the monster's backstory. It feels weird to say that, but
like how the people kind of essentially created its
how they created this
its habitat
energy
for birth, I suppose.
Yeah, its energy source, and I mean the whole beginning of this movie. I'd say the middle is probably the weakest point of this movie. I
would agree with you.
I enjoyed the middle leading up and teasing things, and the kind of you get the origin of these monsters and a little bit of the origin of Godzilla, even though it does take a strange amount of that for granted. Like, Godzilla, right? My buddy Godzilla. You know him? Okay, good. We're not going to waste too much time talking about him. But that's fine. Everyone does know Godzilla, I guess. But I enjoyed the lead up, and I enjoyed the last little 45-minute fucking clusterfuck at the end. The middle was definitely weaker.
There's a good 25-minute lull in the storyline.
This is
I don't really understand how he's getting all over the place. It seems very odd that the military's like, yeah, sure, come along.
And as much as, I was going to point out...
He didn't present any ID.
I was going to point this out, yeah. Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, who is, I guess...
G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe, more or less. He's the main character. He's Bryan Cranston's son in this film. There's a lot of that taken for granted too. I thought it's just like I should be on the team that skydives in there and resets the bomb or whatever. And I'm sitting there like, why?
Sure.
Why do you get to go on this top secret covert mission you just happen to be around for? They're just like, oh yeah, come on, launch yourself out of a plane. I get he's in the military and he's bomb tech and all that, and he's probably super smart.
Well, they said he's in the Navy or something.
I think he was.
I was like, that seems odd that they'd be like, oh, you probably jump out of planes, considering, I don't know, unless he was in the rescue side of the Navy, I feel he wouldn't be jumping out of planes.
That's my point. They near the finale, what kicks off the finale of this film basically is what do they call it?
I think they said Navy. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's called a helo jump or something, like high altitude, low opening, I think.
I don't know, that's the one problem is I had a hard time listening to a lot of the stuff that was said in between Godzilla reveals and fights. And I mean, there was some good parts. I did think that the chemistry between, I believe, is it Elizabeth Olsen? Is that who that is? The wife of?
Yes. Yeah.
The wife of Ford, I believe the character's name is. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought the chemistry between her and him came off pretty well. I thought they did a good job. I did think that. Yeah, she, it seemed a little bit of a stretch at the certain points where it was just her and the kid. But I mean, what can you expect of a kid that's that young, really?
Yeah, I mean,
it was kind of unexplained how he got everywhere, even when the mom kind of wasn't with him. But
there is some what's the right word? Liberties taken, assumptions made.
Well, I mean, there always will be in an action movie, let alone a monster movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should just say that first and foremost. This is a genre film of the monster genre, and it sticks to that pretty good. There's obviously action and drama and blah blah blah, but if you're familiar with this genre, I think you'll be, I think this movie will be pretty good for you.
Well, and like you said, I think it is better than, for instance, a Pacific Rim or the Peter Jackson version of King Kong, or anything of that nature. Where they're taking
Cloverfield.
Yeah, Cloverfield. Yeah, I think it's better than Cloverfield. I honestly thought that it is what it is. I think it's a very good remake. And I think it's a lot better attempt at doing kudos to the original than the Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Oh, fuck.
Considering. I feel like they try to explain. I have only seen that movie probably twice when I was a kid.
Actually, I haven't seen it in well over a decade now, but
yeah, I don't even remember. But either way, when I believe they tried to explain what Godzilla was. Like they said, it was like an iguana that got hit with nuclear radiation or something like that.
That was like in a test site when
Yeah,
the test
something
went off,
something
like that. They definitely
Which
do.
that was just like I'm so glad they didn't go that route, like you said.
Yeah,
Where you
it
said
has
there's
to
not
be.
much explanation for his origin, but they do explain how it's almost like man created these Muto beings, or at least created a
Created
environment for them
the
to live in.
environment for them to thrive in, and
And Godzilla is nature's
yeah, he is nature's
hitman.
yeah, nature's secret weapon that everyone's just strangely okay with him existing in this movie. So much so that the army literally rolls with Godzilla.
Yep.
There's shots of the entire
That part, those parts are where it was like, this is a little fucking much.
there's shots of the entire U.S. Navy just sailing, and then the camera pans up, and like, oh, that ship looks a little different. No, that's Godzilla. They're rolling with Godzilla, which is awesome. Like, I definitely want him on my side, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think Godzilla would give a two shits what the U.S. military is doing. You know,
Like, just come with me.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know why he sounded like Batman, but
I'm Godzilla. Yeah, I think Godzilla himself. Let's talk about him, the character Godzilla. If you character, the monster of Godzilla.
We're getting choppy.
Oh. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Really shoddy internet in these parts. I think Godzilla's tearing apart the nuclear plant or something. But anyways, I believe we were going to talk about Godzilla himself, the monster. What'd you think about him? Because there was going around the internet and whatnot that everyone thought Godzilla was a fatty. Like they didn't like the way
he had a
he
strange belly. Yeah, he had a big gut on him, but I kind of like that. Being a man of ample size myself.
It's just a little winter weight, that's all.
It gave me a hero to relate to.
Godzilla.
Like, yeah, that's the guy that I would go to be like. I got the dry skin, I got big gut. If only I could breathe, completely clean fuel fire, which I thought was odd. The blue fire that he.
Yeah, have they ever explained what that is?
I guess
is that
it's
plasma.
Essentially, well, he essentially is full of nuclear gas.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is why it's always kind of made no sense that if you shot these damn things with a missile, they wouldn't just explode and possibly blow up most of the planet.
Mm-hmm. That was one thing they curiously overlooked. Hey, these things are made of.
They do mention it. They mention that they thought if they killed it, then it might release the radioactivity into the atmosphere. So they did at least mention it.
They did mention it.
Even still, I don't know. It seems weird to me. And like you said, Godzilla as, I guess if you want to say, a character.
Sure.
I thought it was odd, kind of the more dog sort of qualities that this dinosaur had. I'm just calling him a dinosaur because he's a dinosaur.
Yeah, he's a dinosaur.
Essentially, he's pretty much a dinosaur. He's got the big, almost like Stegosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? A Stegosaurus with the big diamond things on their back?
I think so, yeah. He's very, he looks old, like very old school in this movie, but with the healthy...
He did look cool. Yeah, I thought he did look cool.
I liked him a lot. I prefer this version over the stupid 2001 version that will... Yeah, anyways.
But I didn't like some of the looks that he did, the little faces he made, if you will. Mm-hmm. But especially the part where, Ford is in the boat and, he's basically at the end of his rope, falls over, and at the same time in the background, you see Godzilla's also collapsing. I did like that to an extent, but then the point before that, I think it was before that, when he actually looks into his eyes as he falls over, I just felt that was overkill. There was no need to have both scenes of them sort of connecting if you already have your connecting moment when they just fall, even though it's more...
I don't know why they're connecting at all. He doesn't have anything in common with Godzilla. What the fuck? But, hey, you gotta have your human elements in there.
Apparently he's a good guy just going against
they made,
the system. I don't know.
They made Godzilla out to be a dog is a good comparison, actually.
He did, especially the scene, like you said, where he's following the naval ships, and he's just kind of swimming along, and then he comes up to the one you think he's just going to tear right through it, and no, he goes, make sure he goes under. Hey, guys.
He doesn't really want to hurt people.
Puff the fucking magic dragon.
He doesn't ever want to destroy cities, basically. Like, Godzilla's not in it
He's just massive. He can't help it. It's like, if you invite a dude who's like 600 pounds to your house, you can't fit through the door.
Yeah, it's the bull.
You're gonna have to cut through the door or something.
Yeah, it's a bull in a china shop. It's not the bull's fault. He's fucking breaking everything.
Yeah, you brought the bull in the china shop. Well, I guess in this situation, the china shop is essentially built around the bull.
The china shop is where we call home, Earth.
Yeah, and it's essentially built around the bull because, according to this, Godzilla was here first.
Yeah, he was here first.
He's probably just like, these fucking guys again.
Yeah, these humans.
I'm just gonna get your shit out of here. Why are you always leaving shit on the floor?
You're leaving all this nuclear radiation everewhere.
He's like a pissed off parent. Like stepping on. He's like, damn it.
He is kind of just this lone. That's another thing. I loved his roar in this movie.
I did. I did like the little ripple effect in the neck, but even that, he looked like he had a fatty neck. I do see what people are saying when they said he looked kind of chubby, but I just essentially chalked that up to be the fact that he's, millions of years old. So,
and he's big. He's really fucking big. Let's not understate that.
Millions of years old? I don't know. However fucking old.
Really goddamn old. And this is the biggest Godzilla has ever been too, I think. Most of the time he's like
fantastic.
Yeah, most of the time he's like, a solid, don't get me wrong, he's always been huge, like maybe 20 stories tall, give or take. But he is building sized in this motherfucker. Like he could
he's massive.
He could probably like, head height would be at like somewhere around the Empire State Building. Like he is fucking huge. And so are the other two Mutos and that.
Well, no, the one's pretty big. The Mothra,
I think the
one is a little bit smaller. They're both obviously, bigger than we could deal with, but they're not the size of Godzilla. That's for sure.
And I like,
but he does have little stubby T-Rex arms. So I mean, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, he does have little stubby.
See, there you go. There's another reason I can relate to Godzilla. Me and him got a lot in common.
Well, yeah, a hero that kids can look up to, Godzilla. I also like how they didn't make him all-powerful either. He's definitely not demigod status in this. He gets
considering he gets fucked up by things smaller.
Yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him for a decent portion of this movie, but then
I did think that was sick, the little fucking stabbing the things in him.
Oh, yeah, that was
cool. So I was like shanking him in the neck. I was like, that's pretty dirty.
And one thing I do like about... Oh, hello, kitty. The one thing I like about the Mutos is I like how insect and animal-esque they were. Like with the one scene where the Muto gets a hold of that nuclear weapon and he's just like smashing it open with his claws and like eating the missile. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty animal.
Passes it to him.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned the two Mutos, if you will, Godzilla's enemies. They're male and female, just trying to mate, and recreate more.
One sent out a mating call. Godzilla heard it and was like, "Oh, you think so?" And then the other Muto was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come. I'll come to the party." And then Godzilla was like, "Oh, I don't think so. I'm the fucking nature's contraceptive."
Contraceptive. That's a good.
I'm gonna come and mess you up.
Yeah, Godzilla plays the balance. He's the alpha predator of Earth, basically, and he doesn't really want to fuck with humans because what's the point of that?
He'll find a way to restore balance.
Yes, exactly. Godzilla heard there was 2 new kids in town, and he ain't having that. This playground's only big enough for one massive creature, and yeah, that is why Godzilla attacks the Mutos, and it is, this way of nature restoring itself, as Ken's character says. But yeah, you want to talk about some actors and actresses?
Sure. For the small amount that Sally Hawkins, is it Sally Hawkins that plays
Brian's wife? Yes.
Yeah, she did do a good job, I thought, for the very, very, very limited amount of time that she's in it. And Bryan Cranston, obviously, I'd say out of everybody, knocked out of the park, followed up by Ken Watanabe, and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's
how you pronounce his name.
But and then I'd say, Aaron Taylor Johnson. So aside from that, and sorry, Elizabeth Olsen, if that is Elizabeth Olsen, I believe it is.
Yep.
Not very sure on that.
No,
But
that's right.
yeah. Anyway, I thought they did a terrific job. I didn't really think too many other people did a good job. I don't know Buddy's name from Good Night and Good Luck.
Oh, the military dude.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either. Where is? Let's see if I can track him down.
Either way, I didn't really think he
David.
was the.
David
I didn't think
Strathairn,
he was the
something like
best
that.
character.
Fuck. Okay, we're back once again. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Fucking shitty internet, I tell you
Technical
what.
difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn internet. But yes, as we ran down the two best performances in this film are arguably the shortest, clocking in at maybe 30 minutes, and that's Bryan Cranston and his wife, and they pack some real emotion into that quick little 20-minute scene of theirs, because you feel like, obviously Bryan Cranston, we all know him from Breaking Bad, where he shows a just incredible range of emotions there, and he brought that to this, which is like, I don't know.
Some of it did almost seem similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The way
since he's a scientist, maybe that's just why.
Mm-hmm. And he's just obsessive about what happened, this cover up, this nuclear accident. But then they kill him off, and I think that's gonna upset most people.
I would say most people.
It didn't upset me, but I feel like he could have taken the place of Aaron's character, more or less.
As
maybe
far as the lead in the
storyline
of the film.
Yeah, maybe not in the diving from planes and just and defusing bombs scenario, but
would have made even less sense.
I would have liked that also, I think. But yeah, this isn't. Unfortunately, you're not going to a movie like this for the characters solely. You're going for the monster. You're going for Godzilla, and that definitely doesn't disappoint. As we said, Ken Watanabe's character is very good.
Convincing. Very convincing. I thought he did a good job.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they still give him lines like, "We call him Godzilla," which is a little bit, I don't know if it borders on stereotypical or is throwback to the 1950s one. I don't know. But either way, it didn't bother me, and he's never really disappointed. But then we have, Aaron Taylor Johnson, as we covered him, I think, previously in this episode. He's a little bit. He definitely tries. He's not bad per se.
I thought he did a good job, but especially the fact that I love the Kick-Ass movies, and I didn't even notice it was him.
Yes, we didn't even know the motherfucker was in this movie, and he's the main character, the main human character, anyways. He tries. He doesn't do a bad job, but ultimately, I think because of direction and dialogue and whatever, he's pretty forgettable. Along with the subplot involving him trying to get to his wife and kid. I understand why it's there. It's not like useless or distracting, but it's definitely takes a back burner to the what else is going on.
And don't get me wrong, just in case I didn't get heard saying it before, I feel everybody that did the supporting sort of cast parts, supporting character parts of the Army and Marine Corps and whatever else there was, the Navy, I thought they were all terrible. Kind of like every single one of them was just like, oh, whatever, it's an action film, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, generic military. Yeah, they're generic military dudes. Obviously, the military is, we want to kill Godzilla.
I feel like at points like that in films like this, you have a great opportunity to, if you're an extra or, a featured extra or what have you, whatnot, you have a great opportunity to, kind of show what you can do if you actually do it well. Whatever this one, for instance, a Martin Scorsese movie, you never see any extras or featured extras that are bad. They always seem to be pretty damn good. There's sometimes, but very few.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it seems like everybody else besides the main characters were just kind of absolutely forgettable.
Oh, yes, very much so. But like we said a million times, or I said anyways, this is Godzilla. This isn't, Aaron Taylor Johnson. And
I'm just saying, if we're talking, if we're talking performances as far as characters, it needs to be said at least.
Absolutely.
If you do think that there's going to be good performances in the parts of the Army and stuff, you are completely wrong.
Yes, I would.
Forewarned. You have been forewarned. There you go.
There you go. I think that covers the general cast of
Yeah, I mean, that's
characters.
pretty much it.
We can move on to. I want to talk a little bit about the director, not too much, but just because I dig this guy's I guess not quite his style, but his the way he works, anyways. This guy's name is Gareth Edwards, and the only real film of any acclaim he had before this was a film called Monsters, which I just so happen to have right here, and that's his have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not
I
bad.
didn't think it was very good.
But I'll agree with you there. But what I like is how little budget he had. I think that movie had a budget of well under $5 million or something, and he was able to.
I'll give him credit for being able to pull something off.
And he was able to stretch it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
That's the thing about this Godzilla movie is that I actually liked it and can appreciate things about it. And I'm not a fan of. Well, I'm a fan of some of the old monster movies, but not monster movies as a genre. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan as well. I mean, I like Godzilla. I like King Kong, but I'm not like. It's not a near and dear genre to my heart.
Right. I feel this personally. I feel this stands out in the field, especially as far as in the last 15 to 20 years goes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and the genre of monster movies, it's and like, just like what's the word? Destruction. Yeah, apocalypse kind of destruction movies, like War of the Worlds, even things like that. This stands out. This stands alone in that genre, which is very impressive. And
I would agree with that.
And this is where did I put the tab? Yeah, this is his second movie basically, because he did.
That's impressive.
He did 2 shorts and like a few episodes of TV documentaries before this, but this is his second like movie, and
that's pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not perfect, Mr. Gareth Edwards, but I think you have a reputation, or it's likely that you're onto something. And I think who's the guy who does Independence Day and Ural Emmerich? Is that him?
I could not tell you the director of Independence Day's name.
Yeah, Independence Day, 2012, Day After Tomorrow, all those destruction porn kind of movies.
Okay. The first kind of big ones.
Yeah, this guy has I want to see him usurp that throne and take over the destruction movies and do them better than that idiot who did 2012 and that, because
2012 was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
All of his movies are bad. I mean, I like Independence Day just because I saw it as a kid, but really, all of his movies are pretty bad. But I think this guy has potential to be the new king of the disaster movie, and I'd like to see that happen. But anything direction cinematography wise that stood out to you?
Well, I'm gonna jump off the director's dick.
Okay, sure.
I'm just gonna say I like a lot of the like you said, I like a lot of the cinematography with the kind of sweeping shots that they had. I liked a lot of the helicopter aerial shots that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the skydiving scene was fantastic.
That was awesome.
And I thought a lot of the little sneak peeks, if you will, of Godzilla or even the other monsters were done very what's the word for it? Gracefully, I guess would be the best word for the Godzilla ones.
I agree with you there.
The tip of his tail passing the building.
Or the aftermath of his destruction.
Right.
I love the it's a really quick shot. They show it in the trailer too, but it's like it sweeps up this road with like just packed full of cars in a traffic jam, and you realize that a plane has crashed in the middle of this freeway.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like massive amounts of people and cars. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm glad they took the shoot it wide and make it really big approach rather than the up close. They could have just shaken the shit out of that camera and tried to cheat some things, but this guy didn't. He's just like, here's Godzilla in beautifully rendered, perfect resolution. And
Godzilla did. I'll give you that. He looked perfect.
Yeah, he did. I've never seen a better. I don't think I've ever seen a better CGI monster.
No.
CGI character
I challenge anybody that says they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at you, J.J. Abrams. You gotta step it up with the next Star Wars. Fuck. You're not gonna be able to touch this monster. Yeah, cinematography-wise, there's some like pretty jaw-dropping shots here and there sprinkled about. There's nothing that's gonna rewrite the book on cinematography, but as far as monster movies, this is one of the best shot ever, I think. Just because they don't cheat anything, basically, which I really respect them for that.
Well, and I feel like anybody, like you said earlier, who's actually kind of thought that there would be more story, which I wasn't sure, but considering Bryan Cranston was in it, I figured there might be.
Mm-hmm.
You will obviously be disappointed because there is a substantial amount of story that seems like it could have been done far better, in my opinion.
Yep, I'll
But
agree with you
I
there.
think the action scenes and the kind of the destruction, like you said, destruction porn, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that does make up for it, especially in the visual aesthetic. As far as eye candy, it's kind of like you said, it's one of those movies like your War of the Worlds and things of that nature, where it's just kind of eye candy. The new War of the Worlds, that is.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a far better subplot to the film War of the Worlds than um,
Yeah,
to Godzilla,
you bring
but
in Tom Cruise and you keep him there the whole time.
yeah. But yeah, no, I would say that too. I would give you that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is there anything else you want to cover with this Godzilla? I liked it.
I personally liked it as well. I thought it was like we were saying the whole time. I think it's one of the best monster movies I've seen in years, even though I'm not a big fan of the genre.
Mm-hmm. It
And
is.
I do think that it's getting some. I did think it had undue hype. Like there was a little, that was unnecessary to me, just because I feel like if you just put that out, people are going to see it, whether or not you hype the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
And
like you
they did
said, they
hype
made
the
it
shit out
seem
of it.
better than it was going to be.
I agree. They made it seem like this is what's the right word? I don't know. This is the
Oh,
wrong
sorry, made it
analogy.
seem like it was going to be better than it was. Is what I meant to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. The wrong analogy completely, but like the Schindler's List of monster movies, the pinnacle of monster movies, the uh the
The
Omega monster.
Schindler's List.
Yeah,
Nice.
you can quote that. The Schindler's
Schindler's List of
Godzilla is
monster
the
movies.
Schindler's List of monster movies. Jacoby,
The number one film in
2014.
the world.
Yeah.
Critics are calling the Schindler's List of monster movies.
This is overhyped a little bit, but there's like with the nature of summer blockbusters, there's
It's gonna be
the more you watch TV, the more you listen to the radio, read the newspaper, that builds the hype because you'll keep
Mhm.
seeing commercials, you'll keep seeing interviews, you'll keep seeing
Oh,
little
for sure.
teases. And I'm a complete victim of that. I just saw the new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, the longer one. I'm like, fuck yes, give this to me right now. So I'm a victim of the hype train too, and I was a victim here as well. But it could have let me down a shitload more than it did.
Same. I think that's the best thing I was going for. I was going in, especially the second time that I went to see it. I went in with a sort of more open mind as far as my expectations of what it was supposed to be to
Hmm.
me, movie wise. You know what I mean? Not remake wise. And I think taking it into context of a remake too makes it more of an enjoyable film if you've ever actually seen the original.
Hmm. I agree with you there. Yes, fans of the original are gonna have like all kinds of Easter eggs here and things that they appreciate, which is another bonus to old school Godzilla fans.
Yeah.
This director clearly knows the genre very well and he respects it, I think. And he in addition to that, he's gonna throw you little, like the little Mothra bits or the little tidbits here and there, which I always like. I like it when directors do that. Respect to the fans, if you will. Um, but yeah, I think that covers all my points. Anyways, any closing thoughts?
Aside from like the fact that I think it's a highly enjoyable film, then I think most people should see it if you are a fan of either monster films or if you're a film of, like you said, the destruction sort of series of films that have been coming out in recent years. It's right up your alley, and even if you're a bit skeptical, as I was going in, it's far better than the Matthew Broderick version, which to me makes it at least worth your money.
Exactly. It will at the very least expunge the awful memories we have from 2000. Well, it's not even Matthew Broderick's fault. We keep calling it the Matthew Broderick one, but that movie
Since
is
he's the only person that stood out in it, it's just,
yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to strangle you in this film.
That's a bad movie. Bad movie. This is a good movie, or at least a better one.
Yes.
What would you give it on the old 1 to 10?
I'd go ahead and give it a 7.
7? Right
Yeah.
on. I was gonna go with a 7.5 personally.
Okay.
I'd put it up there with some of my favorite CG I've ever seen, and I'm a fan of CGI. I like that computer animation stuff. It it doesn't save a story, but it definitely adds that point 0.5 for me. Just because I love
Yeah.
it so much.
I'll agree with that.
7.5 for me. This is pretty solid summer popcorn flick. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and I don't think it's gonna change your life either. Basically, yeah. So 7 from you.
7 from me.
7.5 from me, and that has been our review of Godzilla. Thank you for tuning in and putting up with our technical issues and nonsense. Links to Big Nasty's channel in the description below. Links to my channel, of course. Give us a like, subscribe, comment, any of that shit if you enjoy what we do. And we'll see you next time on Movieverse. Peace.